Welcome back to Royal Sussex Squad, the place where truth meets the crown and the smear campaign gets smoked out every time. If you're tired of the nonsense, if you're tired of the British press twisting every gesture of kindness into a scandal, and if you're here for Prince Harry, Duchess Meghan and the future they're building, then this is your space. Now let's talk about the outrage machine revving back up again, because once again Meghan Markle dared to do something kind. So here's the story. Prince Harry recently travelled to Ukraine, not for press, not for profit, not for pomp, but for purpose. He was there for the Invictus mission, a mission built around dignity, resilience and healing. He visited the Superhuman Centre, a groundbreaking facility that treats war veterans with life-altering injuries. He connected, he listened, he uplifted, and yes, he received heartfelt gifts. An Easter basket filled with traditional cakes and decorated pysankas, made by the mother of a fallen Ukrainian medic and journalist, Irina Tsibuk. The flour in those cakes came from fields demined by Ukrainian farmers, literally reclaimed from the devastation of war. Prince Harry brought those gifts back home to Montecito, and what did Meghan do? She shared that joy with her children and the world. On Instagram, Meghan posted sweet stories of Archie and Lilibet enjoying the Ukrainian Easter treats. It was a tender moment, a moment of grace, of cultural appreciation, of teaching their children the value of gratitude and empathy. But that wasn't all. Meghan also shared some of the messages sent to her from Ukrainians who were touched by the gesture. One such message came from Yulia Svyridenko, Ukraine's Minister of Economy, the same official who gifted the Easter basket to Prince Harry during his visit. In her message to Meghan, she addressed her, appropriately and correctly, as Your Royal Highness. Now pause right there. You'd think that would be a lovely gesture. You'd think the British press and those palace insiders would be proud that a royal connection, however independent, is helping Ukraine feel seen, valued and supported. But nope. Enter the Daily Beast's royalist, aka the unofficial headquarters of petulant palace whispers. And suddenly this sweet Instagram post has become outrageous. Yes. According to some unnamed friends of King Charles and an alleged source close to Prince William, Meghan's IG story was a deliberate violation of the so-called agreement that she and Harry would no longer use the HRH style. Never mind that they were never formally stripped of their HRH titles. Never mind that Meghan didn't refer to herself as HRH. She merely shared a message addressed to her, using her rightful title by a foreign government official. But here's the real kicker. The outrage isn't about protocol, it's about power, it's about visibility, it's about the fact that Harry and Meghan are still standing tall, still commanding respect on the world stage and still living lives of purpose and passion that have absolutely nothing to do with the approval of the royal rota or the trembling courtiers of Kensington Palace. Let's not miss what's really happening here. Harry travelled to a literal war zone without fanfare to support veterans. He was embraced by a nation in crisis. He received gifts that symbolized survival and sacrifice, and Meghan, being Meghan, shared that story with love. But the palace and their mouthpieces couldn't even allow that moment of humanity to breathe. Instead, they're crying about how Meghan is testing the waters to start using her HRH again. They're suggesting she posted that message with some master plan to exploit a technicality. Do they hear themselves? Because what they're really saying is that Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, is still so relevant, so respected that even a war-torn nation sees her for the royalty she is, and that terrifies them. And let's be crystal clear, she is still HRH. That title was never revoked. The decision to not use it was a courtesy, a compromise, part of the so-called gentleman's agreement. But when a senior government official addresses her using the title in an official message, that is not Meghan's doing. That is international protocol. That is respect. Meanwhile, where is all this royal outrage when tabloids publish racist dog whistles about Meghan? Where is it when she's smeared for loving her own children, for caring about charity, for daring to exist in the public eye without apologizing for her blackness, her intelligence, or her independence? Oh, that's right, silence. Let's also take a moment to appreciate how little energy the British media gave to Harry's trip to Ukraine as a whole. Barely a blip on most royal coverage, except for the tired talking point. Why does Harry feel safer in a war zone than in Britain? Well, maybe, just maybe, It's because he's not being stalked by the same bloodthirsty media that helped drive his mother to her death. Maybe it's because when Harry shows up in a place like Ukraine, people actually respect him. Maybe it's because, unlike the palace that turned its back on veterans to protect Prince Andrew, Harry walks the walk. And Meghan? She continues to uplift, support and love her husband, their children and the world around her, even when she's being dragged by tabloids and so-called royal experts for doing exactly what the rest of the royal family should be doing, leading with compassion. So let the palace insiders pout. Let the anonymous friends of Charles and William leak their half-baked frustrations. At the end of the day, the Sussexes are out here changing lives, building bridges and doing good. And if Meghan wants to share a message that calls her Your Royal Highness, you better believe she has every right to. Not just because of protocol, not just because of a title, but because she earned that respect. The world sees it. And no amount of petty whispering can change that. Duchess Meghan provoked outrage by posting a message from a Ukrainian official. When Prince Harry travelled to Ukraine last week, he spent the bulk of his time on Invictus business, meeting veterans and checking out the Superhuman Centre, which does cutting-edge surgery and therapy for wounded veterans. He was also given lots of gifts. And Ukrainians seemed so pleased that the Ginger Prince visited them years into a deadly and devastating war. One of the gifts Harry received was a big Easter basket full of specially made Easter cakes and Easter eggs, pisankas, made by the mother of Ukrainian journalist and medic Irina Sibuk, who was killed in the war. The Easter cakes were made from Ukrainian flour harvested from demined fields. Harry brought all of the goodies home to Montecito, and Meghan posted some really sweet IG stories of Archie and Lily sharing the cakes and creating a meal out of the goodies. Meghan also shared some messages from Ukrainians who were moved that Meghan highlighted their gifts on her IG. One of those messages was from Yulia Sviridenko, Ukraine's Minister of Economy. Sviridenko met with Harry during his visit, and she was the one to present him with the Easter basket. When Sviridenko wrote to Meghan, she used Meghan's Your Royal Highness style. As you can imagine, the Windsors are fully crashing out about it. Meghan Markle has provoked outrage among friends of the royal family after publishing a message addressing herself as Your Royal Highness. Markle and Harry never formally surrendered their Her Royal Highness, HRH titles, but agreed to stop using them after they quit the royal family and left the United Kingdom. Until now, this tenuous deal had held despite growing calls in the UK for the couple to be stripped of their titles. However, Markle has now called that agreement into question by publishing a letter from Ukraine's vice president on Instagram using the greeting this weekend. Buckingham Palace declined to comment, but a friend of King Charles III told the Daily Beast that he would be dismayed at Markle posting a screen grab to Instagram of a message from a senior Ukrainian's Vice Prime Minister, Yulia Sviridenko, that began, Your Royal Highness, I would like to express my sincere thanks for everything your family is doing for Ukraine. It's outrageous. Every time you think they can't make it worse, they make it worse, the friend of the king said. The deal with the HRH was a way to stop them cashing in while letting them walk away with pride and dignity and trust, and now Markle is using her HRH on a website which seems to exist to sell jam. They say they want reconciliation, the source added. I'm sure the king's first reaction will be dismay, but he simply doesn't allow himself to get angry about things like this anymore. A friend of Prince William said, It's actually quite a clever way of testing the water because there is deniability there, she can say. Well, I just wanted to publish this nice letter to raise awareness for Ukraine, and oops, they got my name wrong, but actually, now I think of it, I never gave the title up anyway, and maybe I will start using it again. It's a step in the wrong direction, basically, away from the agreement. You'd have to be an idiot to believe that she didn't know exactly what she was doing when she posted that message unedited to her stories. An expert in heraldry who knows the family told the Daily Beast there were plenty of people at the time who said it was a mistake to make not using the title a mere gentleman's agreement rather than just removing it. This post may not matter in and of itself, but it raises a bigger question. What are they going to do if she simply starts using her HRH again? She probably can't be stopped as things stand right now. The bottom line is she is officially an HRH. It was never removed. I watched the British media all weekend to see how they would cover Prince Harry's trip to Ukraine and his exclusive on-the-record comments to People magazine and The Telegraph about his security fight. What's fascinating is how little energy was given to Harry's Ukrainian trip in particular, other than the smooth-brained cries of, "Why does he feel safer in a war zone than in Britain?" My point is that it's remarkable that the Daily Beast's royalists managed to get sources close to Charles and William on the record about Meghan posting a letter from Ukraine's Minister of Economy. They also don't want to acknowledge that a Ukrainian government official simply used the correct address either. Meghan's HRH was never taken away, and in official correspondence, like say a note or letter from a government official, it's completely proper to address her as Your Royal Highness. Anyway, it's telling. They're incandescent with rage over Harry's Ukrainian trip, and they're taking it out on Meghan for simply highlighting a lovely message. If you're tired of the gaslighting, if you're tired of seeing Harry and Meghan torn down for doing the right thing, then this is your call to action. Subscribe to the Royal Sussex Squad, where we speak truth, defend the Sussexes, and build a community that sees through the noise. And if you believe in what we're doing, hit that super thanks button and show your support. Every contribution helps us keep the truth flowing and the nonsense exposed. Until next time, stay loud, stay proud, and always stand with Harry and Meghan.